You will fail at some point in your life. That's not a guess. That's a fact. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will fall down. But when you fall, what will you do? Will you stay down? Will you let failure define you? Or will you fall forward? Most people are afraid of failure. They see it as an end, as something to be avoided at all costs. They think that failing means they aren't good enough, that they aren't smart enough, that they don't have what it takes. But failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure, think about it. Every successful person you admire, every great leader, every champion, every innovator, they all failed before they succeeded. Not once, not twice, multiple times. Look at Thomas Edison. Before he finally invented the light bulb, he failed thousands of times. People laughed at him. They said he was wasting his time. But he didn't stop. He didn't see those failures as defeats. He saw them as steps, lessons. He was falling, but he was falling forward. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, missed over 9,000 shots in his career. He lost 300 games. He was trusted to take the game-winning shot 26 times and missed. But he didn't quit. He didn't let failure define him. He kept pushing. He kept learning. And because of that, he became a legend. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in the world, was fired from her first TV job. Imagine that. A woman who would go on to inspire millions was once told, "You're not good enough for television." But did she let that stop her? No, she used that failure to fuel her success. And let's talk about Steve Jobs. He was kicked out of the very company he built, fired from Apple, humiliated. But instead of giving up, he used that setback as an opportunity to grow. And when he came back, he changed the world. So what does that tell you? It tells you that failure is not final. It tells you that the most successful people in history were once failures too. The difference is they didn't let failure stop them. They didn't let failure paralyze them. They took those failures and turned them into fuel. They didn't fall back. They fell forward. But here's the problem. Most people don't think like that. Most people fear failure so much that they never even try. They would rather stay in their comfort zone, safe from rejection, safe from mistakes, safe from embarrassment. But what they don't realize is that avoiding failure is the fastest way to fail. Because if you never take risks, if you never step out of your comfort zone, if you never put yourself out there, you will never grow. Imagine being on your deathbed, looking back at your life, realizing you never took that leap of faith, that you let fear hold you back, that you played it safe. Regret is worse than failure. So I want you to change the way you see failure. I want you to start embracing it. Because every failure brings you closer to success. Every time you fall, you are learning. You are growing. You are getting better. But only if you fall forward. Falling back means giving up. It means letting failure win. It means staying stuck in the same place, afraid to try again. But falling forward, that means you're still in the game. That means you're still moving, still learning, still pushing towards something greater. And that is the key to success. So today I want you to make a decision to stop fearing failure, a decision to stop holding yourself back, a decision to take risks, chase your dreams, and push yourself beyond what you think is possible. Because the only real failure is never trying at all. Failure is painful. It's disappointing. It shakes your confidence and makes you question yourself. But here's the truth. Failure is necessary for success, not just helpful, not just part of the process. It is absolutely necessary. The world has conditioned us to fear failure, to see it as something negative. In school, we're taught that failing is bad. We're told that mistakes should be avoided at all costs. We grow up believing that if we fail, we are not good enough. But that's a lie. Failure is the greatest teacher you will ever have. Every setback, every rejection, every disappointment is teaching you something. It is shaping you, making you stronger, forcing you to learn, to grow, to improve. If you never fail, it means you're not trying hard enough. It means you're playing it safe. And success doesn't come to those who play it safe. Think about any great achievement in history. It wasn't built on perfection. It was built on failure, on trial and error, on persistence. Take J.K. Rowling, for example. Before she became the world-famous author of Harry Potter, she was struggling. She was broke, divorced, raising a child alone, and facing rejection after rejection. 12 publishers rejected her book. 12 times she was told that her dream wasn't good enough, that she wasn't good enough. But she didn't stop. She kept going. And because she kept going, she became one of the most successful authors of all time. What if she had given up after the first rejection, or the second, or the 10th? She never would have seen the success she has today. Or take Walt Disney. He was fired from his first newspaper job because they said he lacked imagination. Imagine that. The man who created Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, and some of the most iconic stories in history was told he wasn't creative enough. But did he let that failure stop him? No, he used it as fuel to push forward. Failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're learning. Every time you fail, you learn something new about yourself. You learn what works and what doesn't. You learn how to adapt, how to think differently, how to improve. Failure forces you to get better. It sharpens your skills, builds your resilience, and makes you stronger. If success was easy, everyone would have it. But success requires struggle. It requires setbacks. It requires failure. The people who win in life are the ones who are willing to fail over and over again until they get it right. The difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is not talent. It's not luck. It's persistence. Unsuccessful people fail once and quit. They take failure personally. They see it as proof that they weren't meant to succeed. But successful people, they fail again and again and again, and they keep going. Michael Jordan once said, "I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." He understood that failure is the path to greatness. That every missed shot, every lost game, every setback was preparing him for something bigger. The problem is, most people never give themselves a chance to succeed because they're too afraid to fail. They are so scared of rejection, of looking foolish, of making mistakes that they never even try. But here's what you need to understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. You cannot reach your full potential without failing. You cannot grow without struggle. So don't run from failure. Don't fear it. Embrace it. Learn from it. Use IT. Because if you want to succeed, you have to be willing to fail first. If I'm one of the most respected and accomplished actors in Hollywood, but my journey to success was not easy. It was filled with failures, struggles, and moments of doubt. Like many of us, he faced rejection, setbacks, and obstacles that could have stopped him from achieving his dreams. But instead of quitting, he chose to fall forward. I wasn't always the confident, award-winning actor we see today. He started just like anyone else with a dream, with ambition, but no guarantee of success. As a young man, he struggled to find direction. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. He had talent, but talent alone doesn't guarantee success. He needed something more: determination, resilience, and the courage to keep going despite the obstacles. One of the most defining moments in his life happened during college. He was sitting in his mother's beauty salon when an elderly woman, a customer, looked at him and said something that changed his life forever. She told him, "You're going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." At the time, he didn't believe her. He wasn't sure what he wanted to do, but those words stayed with him. They planted a seed of belief inside him, a belief that he was meant for something greater. Even after deciding to pursue acting, the road wasn't smooth. He auditioned for roles and got rejected. He faced criticism, doubters, and moments of failure that could have broken his spirit. There were times he could have given up, times when he could have settled for something easier, but he didn't. He understood that failure was not a reason to quit, it was a reason to keep going. I often speaks about one of his early failures, a moment when he auditioned for a Broadway play and didn't get the role. It was a crushing experience, but instead of letting that rejection define him, he used it as motivation. He knew that if he wanted to succeed, he couldn't let one failure stop him. He had to push harder. He had to improve. He had to keep showing up no matter how many times he was told no. Rejection is part of the journey. Every successful person has faced it. Every champion has failed. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. The ones who succeed refuse to quit. I took every rejection, every failure, every setback and turned it into fuel. He kept grinding. He kept believing in himself. And eventually his hard work paid off. He landed roles that showcased his talent, and slowly the world began to take notice. But even after finding success, he never stopped pushing himself. He didn't let comfort make him complacent. He continued to challenge himself, to take on roles that tested his limits, to prove that he was not just another actor, he was one of the best. His journey is a testament to the power of persistence. It's a reminder that success doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come to those who give up at the first sign of failure. It comes to those who fall forward, who use their failures as stepping stones to something greater. A story teaches us an important lesson. You will fail, you will struggle, you will face rejection. But if you keep going, if you keep believing, if you refuse to quit, your moment will come. So the question is, how will you respond to failure? Will you let it break you? Or will you use it to build yourself into something stronger? Will you fall back into fear, or will you fall forward into your destiny? The choice is yours. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to success. It stops people from chasing their dreams, from taking risks, from stepping out of their comfort zones. And the most common fear, the fear of failure. People are terrified of failing. They worry about what others will think. They fear looking foolish, being rejected, or proving their doubts right. So instead of taking action, they stay stuck. They convince themselves that playing it safe is the right choice. But what they don't realize is that avoiding failure is the fastest way to fail. Fear of failure is a mental prison. It keeps you trapped in mediocrity. It makes you settle for less than what you're capable of. It whispers lies in your ear. What if I try and fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I embarrass myself? And because of that fear, most people never even take the first step. But here's what you need to understand. Failure is not the enemy. Fear is. Every great success story is built on failure. Every legend, every icon, every world changer you admire, they all failed. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. The difference? They didn't let fear stop them. They failed forward. They used every setback as a setup for a comeback. Think about how many dreams have died because of fear. How many people had the potential to do something great but never even tried because they were too afraid of failing? How many businesses were never started, books never written, ideas never shared all, because someone was too scared of what might go wrong? But what if you changed your perspective? What if, instead of fearing failure, embraced it? What if you saw it as part of the process, as a necessary step toward growth? Because that's exactly what it is. The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. You cannot succeed without failing first. Every mistake teaches you something. Every setback makes you stronger. Every rejection builds resilience. The most successful people in the world don't avoid failure, they expect it. They understand that every time they fail, they are getting closer to success. They know that if they never fail, it means they're not pushing themselves hard enough. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. That means if you never take risk, if you never challenge yourself, if you never put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you are limiting your potential. You are holding yourself back from discovering what you're truly capable of. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? If you try and fail, so what? You learn, you adjust, you grow, and then you try again. But if you never try, you will always wonder what could have been. You will live with regret. And regret is worse than failure. Fear will never fully go away, but you can choose not to let it control you. You can feel the fear and do it anyway. You can acknowledge the doubt, the uncertainty, the possibility of failure, and take action despite it. That is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Fear of failure is an illusion. It only has power over you if you let it. The moment you stop letting it dictate your choices, you will be free. You will take risks. You will put yourself out there. You will go after your dreams with everything you got. And yes, you will fail along the way. You will stumble. You will make mistakes. But you will also grow. You will learn. And most importantly, you will move forward. Oh, don't let fear stop you. Don't let doubt keep you from taking action. The only true failure in life is never trying at all. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to take risks. There is no success without stepping out of your comfort zone. Staying in the same place, doing the same things, avoiding discomfort, that is a guaranteed way to live an average life. But if you want more, if you want to reach your full potential, you have to be willing to take chances. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they aren't smart enough or skilled enough. They fail because they are too afraid to take risks. They let fear keep them from going after what they truly want. They tell themselves, maybe next time, I'm not ready. What if I fail? And before they know it, years have passed and they are still stuck in the same place. But here's the truth, you will never feel 100% ready. There will always be doubts. There will always be fears. But the people who succeed are the ones who take action despite those fears. They take the leap even when they don't feel prepared. Because they understand that growth only happens when you step outside your comfort zone. I took a huge risk when he decided to pursue acting. There was no guarantee of success. There was no roadmap, no safety net. He could have played it safe, chosen a more traditional path, but he knew that in order to fulfill his purpose, he had to take a chance on himself. Think about the greatest achievers in history. None of them played it safe. Every great leader, innovator, and champion took risks. They stepped into the unknown. They faced uncertainty. They made decisions that could have led to failure, but they did it anyway. Take Elon Musk, for example. He risked everything he had on Tesla and SpaceX. At one point, both companies were on the brink of collapse. He could have lost everything. But instead of giving up, he kept pushing forward. And today, he's one of the most successful and influential people in the world. Or look at Oprah Winfrey. She took a risk by starting her own network. Many doubted her. Many thought she would fail. But she believed in herself. She was willing to step into the unknown, to take that risk, and it paid off. The biggest risks often lead to the biggest rewards, but you have to be willing to step out in faith. You have to stop waiting for the perfect moment because it will never come. You have to stop making excuses and start taking action. So ask yourself, what are you holding back on? Is there a dream you've been too afraid to pursue? A decision you've been delaying because you're scared of the outcome? A goal you've convinced yourself is too risky? If you never take risks, you will never know what you're truly capable of. You will never experience the life you were meant to live. Someone says, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. That means you can't take anything with you when you're gone. So why not go all in while you're here? Why not chase your dreams with everything you've got? Why not take risks and see what happens? Because in the end, it's not the risks you took that you will regret, it's the ones you didn't take. It's the chances you were too afraid to go after. It's the opportunities you let slip away because you were too comfortable, too scared, too unsure. So take the risk, step out, move forward, because outside your comfort zone is where real growth, real success, and real fulfillment begin. Success is not just about money, fame, or achievements. It's about having a deeper purpose. Without purpose, even the greatest success feels empty. You can have all the money in the world, all the recognition, all the awards, but if you don't have a reason for what you're doing, none of it will truly satisfy you. I am often spoken about the importance of purpose. He believes that success is not just about reaching personal goals, but about using your talents and abilities to serve a greater good. If you are only chasing success for yourself, you may reach the top, but you will find that it doesn't bring the fulfillment you thought it would. Purpose is what gives your journey meaning. It is what keeps you going even when things get tough. Too many people go through life without ever discovering their purpose. They drift from job to job, relationship to relationship, never truly feeling fulfilled. They chase things they think will make them happy: money, status, material possessions, only to find that something is still missing. That's because happiness doesn't come from external success, it comes from within. It comes from knowing why you are here and what you are meant to do. Think about the most successful people in the world. What sets them apart is not just their talent or hard work, it's their purpose. They have a clear vision of what they want to achieve, and more importantly, why they want to achieve it. They are not just working for themselves, they are working for something bigger. Denzel has always emphasized that real success is about serving others. He said, at the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. That is purpose. It's not just about personal gain, but about making a difference in the world. When you have a purpose, you wake up with energy and motivation. You have a reason to keep going, even when times are tough. You don't quit when you face obstacles because you know that what you are working for is bigger than yourself. But finding your purpose is not always easy. It requires deep reflection. It requires asking yourself tough questions. What am I passionate about? What impact do I want to have? What legacy do I want to leave? These are the questions that help you discover your true calling. Some people find their purpose early in life. Others take years to discover it. But no matter where you are in your journey, it is never too late to find your purpose and start living for something greater. One of the most powerful things Denzel Washington teaches is that purpose is often connected to faith. He believes that each of us has been placed on this earth for a reason, that we have been given gifts and talents meant to be used for a greater cause. He has spoken about how his faith has guided him throughout his career, helping him stay grounded and reminding him that his success is not just for his own benefit, but for the benefit of others. So ask yourself, what is your purpose? What drives you? What are you passionate about? What legacy do you want to leave behind? When you find your purpose, everything changes. Your work becomes meaningful. Your struggles become lessons. Your failures become stepping stones. And your success becomes about more than just you. It becomes about the impact you are making on the world. Don't just chase success, chase purpose, because when you live with purpose, true success will follow.